Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. We're back once again in PowerPoint. As you guys can see on the screen, we're doing another World's Power Rankings. Now, maybe you already saw my past World's Power Rankings. I believe that video did pretty well. I think it got over 10,000 views, which was really cool. The same thing happened with my MSI Power Rankings, so that's why I was so, excited to get another one of those out, and I wanted to get it out early so it could be, one of the first YouTube videos about a World 2021 Power Rankings. I thought it would do well, and it did. You guys seem to like it. Obviously, videos like that are always going to be a little bit controversial. People aren't going to agree with everything you have to say, and there's always comments like, oh, you're so biased, or oh, you're so stupid, or oh, you got this wrong, you got that wrong, he hates my favorite team, or whatever. So it's all good. Obviously, you make videos like that, you make lists like that to have discussions, to start all these conversations. But today, I wanted to go over the Reddit World Power Rankings to see what everyone else thinks, to see what maybe the general consensus of not the community, but a large part of the community is, and give my thoughts and opinions on this list, and just show you guys another viewpoint of what somebody else is thinking. So you're not just getting mine. And I just wanted to make some more Worlds content because we're like a little bit over a week away from Worlds play-in starting. I'm super hyped up. I'm excited. So, just getting one more ranking out there. And now that I've had a couple, more weeks to think about everything, some updated opinions. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy it. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content, and consider checking out my Patreon, patreon.com/IamGerm. With that being said, here we go. Let's get right into this list. Obviously, the scuffed PowerPoint stuff. I know I had somebody comment the other day. It's like, bro, your videos are so low quality. People do this better. Like, okay, well, like, one, I don't care. I think it's funny to do like crappy quality like this, but also it doesn't take away from the power rankings. You're looking at a list at the end of the day. It should be the same. So I don't know. People, I think, take stuff a little too seriously. But here we go. At the bottom, we have Red Canids. Now, I don't have a problem with this. Obviously, this is the CB LOL team. I think they're one of the weaker regions in the world. I don't know if I would necessarily put Red Canids last. I don't remember if I put them last. I remember I put them towards the bottom. I don't have too big of a deal with that. There's also a score on the side where you can kind of see where every team compares relatively to each other. Second to last here, we have Peace, and these two teams are very close. I could see Peace being the worst team. I could definitely see Red Canids being the worst team. I think they're going to be close to the bottom. I had somebody comment yesterday, I think, that they think Peace has a chance to actually make it to the world play-in stage. I really don't see that, but yeah, everyone's kind of opinions are all over the place. People are a little bit higher on Peace. Obviously, Pentanet had a really good showing at MSI, relatively for Osh. I don't think Peace is better than Pentanet was then, but we'll see, I guess. Next up, we have Infinity. I do think I definitely have Infinity above these previous two teams, so I don't have as much problem with this. I think that's a pretty good ranking. Then they have Galatasaray, who, I don't know, I had a guy in my live stream earlier say that he like follows the Turkish league pretty close, and he's not that high in Galatasaray, and I was a little surprised to hear that because I obviously, the TCL teams are not usually insane, but they're usually pretty respectable for like a minor region team, emerging region team, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. It's close. Again, I agree with this. I think they're in a pretty decent spot here. Then we have Beyond Gaming, who you can see the point difference is very higher compared to Galatasaray. But man, I was surprised to see Galatasaray Beyond Gaming so low on this list. This is way lower than I had them on mine. And another team that I have a huge problem with here is Unicorns of Love. Now, maybe I'm going to be way wrong. Maybe this one is going to blow up in my face. Maybe I'm going to look like an absolute idiot. But one, I think Beyond Gaming is way slept on here. I have Beyond Gaming a pretty significant amount higher on my list. Two, I have Unicorns of Love way lower. I do not think Unicorns of Love is this good. I think people are kind of feeding into the organization name, and it's a name that people know, and it's an organization that has historically done pretty well. But man, coming off MSI, I just am not in love with this team. I'm just not seeing it. Now, obviously, it's not like I followed Unicorns of Love super closely since then, but if they made a huge turnaround since then, man, I would be pretty shocked. Now, I know they have changed their AD carry since then, but that doesn't fix, the rest of the map. And AD carry is one of the least influential team positions overall. I don't know. Again, this is one of the big things that I've kind of been disagreeing with people on is where Unicorns of Love is. I would have them down at least 2, maybe 3 slots on this list, and definitely below Beyond Gaming, dude. Beyond Gaming went 5-5 with PSG Talon. I assume PSG Talon's going to be pretty high on this list, so it doesn't make sense to have Beyond that low and PSG that high. I don't know. That one's kind of head-scratching to me. Then we have Detonation Focus Me. This is another team that I kind of think people are sleeping on. I don't think Detonation Focus Me should be this close to Unicorns of Love. I think Detonation Focus Me should be, a significant amount of points ahead of Unicorns of Love, but I think Beyond Gaming should be ahead of both of them. But I do think Detonation Focus means a solid team. I think they're going to be scary in the play-ins, and I think they could, potentially steal a game off a top team. Then we have Team Liquid, the first of the North American teams. I think the North American teams are really, really hard to differentiate between. I think Cloud9 is pretty clearly the weakest of the 3 North American teams, but I also know that Cloud9 has some big names that could show up internationally. Blabber could have a big turnaround. Perks could have a big turnaround, but I think Cloud9 is the weakest of the 3 NA teams, but obviously a Reddit had Team Liquid as the lowest. Next, we have Cloud9, very, very close. They're only a couple decimal points apart, and then they have 100 Thieves. It's funny that on pretty much every list, people have the 3 North American teams are really, really close to each other. Like, everyone has them above all the play-in teams, but below everybody else. So, nobody really expects NA to do good in groups. No one really expects any NA teams to get out of groups. At least that's not what people are, betting on in any of the predictions. So I think it'll be interesting. I think, obviously 100 Thieves dominated Team Liquid in the finals, but throughout the regular season, throughout the rest of the playoffs, it's not like 100 Thieves was significantly better than Team Liquid. Remember, 100 Thieves was coming out of the losers bracket, and Team Liquid was coming out of the winners bracket. Think back to last year where TSM made this run and obviously won the championship from the losers bracket, and then was the worst North American team at Worlds. Maybe one of the worst North American teams ever at Worlds. Just because 100 Thieves won the championship doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be the best NA team. I still think Team Liquid is the best NA team. I think 100 Thieves is a very close second, and I personally have Cloud9 as a distant third. Then next up we have Rogue. Now, putting Rogue ahead of all 3 of the NA teams, that's tough for me. Rogue looked so bad at the end of the season. Obviously, they looked great in best of ones. Group stage is going to be best of ones. It'll be interesting to see how they're able to do, how they're able to perform, but man, I just have such a bad taste in my mouth from Rogue finishing that season 0-6. I think they should be penalized a little bit more than that. I would probably have at least one of the NA teams above them, if not 2 of them. I would put them above Cloud9, but that's it, man. I don't know. I'm not seeing it for Rogue either, but obviously an EU team. Next up we have PSG Talon. Obviously, I think they're going to be a good team again, but again, PSG Talon's here. Beyond's all the way down here. They had such close series in the playoffs. I do not think they should be this far apart. Then we have Hanwha Life. I think people have Hanwha Life a little too high. Obviously, they went on a crazy run, to even make it to Worlds in the first place. But this was a team who, this is Chovy and friends. This is not the same depth that we remember. This is not, some Korean powerhouse team. There's some people, that follow Hanwha Life pretty close that think they might struggle in play-ins a little bit. To put them ahead of Rogue, to put them ahead of PSG Talon, to put them ahead of all the NA teams, I don't know. That's another kind of one that I don't necessarily agree with. I think that's maybe a Korean team getting a little too much respect. Next up, we have LNG. I don't really have a big problem with this one. I think it'll be interesting to see how they do. Obviously, it's a 4 seed from China. So let's see how deep China is. Let's see how good they are this year. Let's see, if they can have 4 teams really be good. Next up, we have Gen G. This seems like a team people are kind of all over the place about. Some people are pretty high on them. Some people think, they're really, really inconsistent and a pretender. They're going to be an interesting one to watch out for in groups. I'm excited to see how Gen G is going to play. Then we have Fnatic. This is actually pretty high up on the list. This is a significant amount above Gen G, above LNG, above PSG Talon. Fnatic's getting a lot of love. Obviously, they finished the playoffs super, super strong, but they weren't always dominant. They played Vitality close. They played Misfits close. They weren't amazing in the regular season. Fnatic ended the season very strong, but I don't know. They're a team that could be very, very volatile. I could see them finishing last in their group. I could see them making it to semifinals in Worlds. For me, Fnatic is one of the hardest teams to predict going into this Worlds tournament event. Next up, we have T1. Obviously, a very, very popular team in Korea. It's going to be exciting to see Faker back. It's going to be interesting to see between Gumayusi and Teddy, who's going to be playing, who's going to be performing, who's going to play in, the high-pressure matches. But T1, obviously, going to be a very, very highly rated team coming into the event. We'll see how they do. My one thing about T1 is Damwon just seemed to me throughout the whole year just a tier above them. So, how good is Korea compared to the other regions in the world is what it's going to be based off of. Because, T1 they're not the best Korean team. So, it'll kind of be interesting to see. Next up, we have Mad Lions, just a smidge above T1. I think Mad Lions is very, very good. My one question about this team is how good they're going to be able to do in best of ones. I think if they make it to best of fives, which they should be able to do, they're going to be a very, very scary team. They're not going to be a team you want to play. They're the best team in Europe, and Europe's been a good region the last couple of years. I think, people should not be sleeping on Mad Lions at all. They are a team with a talented player at every single position. If they play their best, I think they can play with anybody in the world. Think back to MSI. They almost beat Damwon. They almost had them. And now they're a team that's even more practiced. They have another championship under their belt. They learned from MSI. I think they're coming in scary. We have RNG next. I would not be putting RNG above Mad Lions. I think there's even a case to be made to have T1 above RNG. But obviously RNG is a very, very good team. They're the, defending international tournament champions coming into Worlds. I don't know if they're exactly the team from MSI. Obviously they're the third seed coming out of China. But it'll be interesting to see. Does China really have 3 powerhouse teams? I don't know. We're going to find out. That's really scary if they do. Next up, we have EDG. And then finally, obviously, getting into the top 2, Reddit has Damwon Kia and then FPX as the number 1 team. So obviously, FPX and Damwon Kia are actually a cut above every other team by a significant margin. EDG, RNG, and Mad Lions and T1 are kind of in that next group, and then it really falls off from there. So, most people do see there's really 2 contenders, even though FunPlus Phoenix is not even the summer champion in the LPL. But man, FunPlus against Damwon in the same group is going to be fun. Those are going to be bangers. And the big thing is, one of those teams is going to be a 2 seed. One of those teams is going to be playing the 1 seed from another group, and that's going to be so rough if you get the 1 seed from your group and you end up playing Damwon in the quarterfinals or something. But yeah, this is what Reddit thinks. So, I gave you guys my list. Here's Reddit's list. If you hated my list, maybe you like theirs more. Maybe you disagree with us both. But that is pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this list. Any big problems you have with it. Anything you'd change. Anything you like about it. Subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.